District Administrator Report, Superintendent Bina.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening. We've been very busy over the last month preparing for the school year, and I've got several updates I'd like to share. New teacher in service is scheduled Wednesday, August 24th and Thursday, August 25th. I'm shaking my head. That's next week already. My goodness, where did the summer go? New teacher in service is scheduled from 7:45 until 3:45 each day. This year's new teacher in service looks a little bit different from prior years. It's being held one day at the high school and one day here at the elementary. And I've asked each member of our administrative team to take a leadership role in the training this year. As of today, there are 6 new teachers in the district. We have a new 4K teacher, we have 4 elementary school teachers, and 1 junior senior high teacher. Okay, and I see nods from my principals, so we're gonna keep it right there at that number. Beginning of the year in-service meetings are scheduled for August 29th, 30th, and 31st. That's a Monday through Wednesday. Board of Education members are invited to join all district staff at approximately 10:15 on Monday, August 29th in this room to welcome back staff and provide greetings. And the handout that I handed to you just prior to the meeting started has those schedules listed there. Several of the district's summer projects are moving along as scheduled. The chemistry lab is completely drywalled. That was finished at noon today. Installation of the new ceiling is scheduled to begin tomorrow, followed by the floor surfacing and finally cabinet and electrical installation. So that project is on schedule. The high school staff parking lot and playground are scheduled to be crack sealed and seal coated and striped prior to the beginning of the school year. We don't have a firm date yet, but we do want to get that done prior to the school year, and it is scheduled to be done. Our administrative team has been working with the CISA 5 technology team on the creation of our new district website. It's scheduled to be launched on Monday, August 29th, in time for the new school year. On July 20th, Mrs. Schroeder and I met with representatives from the Boys and Girls Club to discuss the Be Great Graduate program at John Edwards Middle and High School. We discussed how it can be improved for the upcoming school year. Mrs. Schroeder was part of several interviews in late July and early August for the mentor position for this program. I'm happy to report that a quality candidate has been offered and has agreed to the position for the year ahead. So very good news in that area. On July 21st, I met with representatives from UW-Stevens Point's Dorothea Haryu Foundation to give them a tour of our high school. Thank you to Mrs. Miller, Mr. Buchholz, our custodian, and Mrs. McGrath for also meeting with representatives that day to help provide additional information about Mrs. Haryu and her time as a teacher for the Port Edwards School District. Over the past month, in my first 6 weeks on the job, I've attended my first meetings for several area committees: the South Wood County Steering Committee, the Wood County Youth Success Coalition, and the Port Edwards Education Foundation. I also attended the annual WASDA Legal Conference in Sturgeon Bay, which was held July 27th through the 29th. Several valuable seminars took place at the conference. A recurring theme in many presentations was what exactly constitutes freedom of speech in a school. That's been a recurring and more repetitive issue over the last several years. What is freedom of speech? What is allowable and what is not allowable in public education settings? 2 days ago on August 15th, I completed a Wisconsin Department of Justice grant, which if awarded will provide about $9,000 to pay for digital mapping of both the elementary and the high school buildings. This mapping will be used by school administration and emergency personnel in case of a crisis in our buildings. Also on August 15th, Wood County District Administrators met with county health officials to review the updated Wisconsin DHS and DPI health protocols for the upcoming school year. Less stringent protocols, I'm very happy to report, are being advised for the upcoming year than have been recommended the last 2 years. And after meeting with our district administrative team and school nurse and health worker yesterday, I'd like to share the protocols that we have agreed upon as a staff to begin the school year. Face coverings will be optional. Contact tracing will not be done by school officials unless there is a widespread situation. The Test to Stay program will not be utilized. The Center for Disease Control is no longer supporting Test to Stay. Parents will be asked to keep their students home for 24 hours after their child's flu-like symptoms have subsided And that falls in line with our typical health plan and health protocols. Children who do test positive for COVID are being advised to stay home for 5 days and may return to school if they've had a negative rapid test on day 6. And they may stay in school if they've had a negative test on day 8 as well. It's also advised that students who return to school on day 6 following a 5-day at-home stay wear a mask for days 6 through 10. That's if they test positive. If the county health department determines that there is a serious outbreak which may cause school closures, these protocols may become more restrictive. At this time, we are not seeing evidence of that. We are not anticipating that, and we're certainly not hoping that. We're certainly hoping that we can kind of get back to business as usual. The information that I just shared with our board and with our audience tonight will be communicated home to families prior to the start of the school year. Thank you.
So
Questions?
if they test positive, how do you find that out? What if they don't tell you? Or
It's going to
does
be,
it,
we're going to ask the parents to be honest and work with us. Yeah. We're not, it's not mandated testing. We will have testing at our schools, but it'll be more of a service to families. If they would like their child to get tested, we'll have it available as an option.
the 5 days is not mandatory either, or?
It's strongly advised, and that's following the language from the CDC and our state departments of instruction and health. So we're strongly advising those.
Does the school or the county health authority have the ability, if a child tests positive and for whatever reason the parents do not make them stay home, what happens then?
They would well, in that situation, we did discuss a number of scenarios, Leo. In that situation, the child would most likely be exhibiting some symptoms.
Right.
And if they're exhibiting symptoms, we would ask the parents to pick them up.
Okay,
Alright, any other questions? Okay,
You're welcome.
thank you. Next item is elementary principal report, Principal Christie.
Okay, as Mr. Pina mentioned, we have some new teachers coming in, we're really excited. They're really excited because they've been in a lot, so it's been nice to see their faces. We have a new 4-5 teacher, Jess Weaver. She is going to do our science and social studies rotation. She'll be the 4th grade, she'll have the 4th grade homeroom, but as we know, those 4th and 5th graders are going to rotate. And she will be doing the science social studies. She's has 2 years of experience from Anago. And so she'll be coming to us, and she also has an environmental ed background, so that science part really fits well for her, and 2 years of experience teaching 4th grade. We have Kira Lepek in 3rd grade. She has a couple years of experience teaching in Adams Friendship, and she lives in Wisconsin Rapids, so she's a kind of a local, so that's good. We have Jeannie Beer also who is now Jeannie Rasmussen because she got married just a few weeks ago, so we had to switch the mailbox and all that good stuff real quick and some labels. And she was our student teacher last year with Wendy Henney in 3rd grade. So it was a great fit for her to stay right in 3rd grade for this year. And then in 2nd grade, since Kristen Winters will be our new interventionist, we have Erin Meisner, and she has 2 years experience as well from Adams Friendship, but she lives in Stevens Point. And then our 4K teacher, who was hired through the Y, is Keisha, hopefully they'll call her Miss K, because for 4K, it's Kavalikas. That's what I'm gonna go with, Kavalikas, does that look right? Okay. She is coming from Stevens Point 4K, and I want to say it's the Y in Stevens Point or 4K, something like that Tracy Berwin found her from. So we're very fortunate to have all those positions filled because there are a lot of schools that are still looking. So we also will be having Renisha Keeling joining us to be a sub because we have 3 baby Blackhawks that one who was born, Bogdan's baby was born last week, and then we have 2 more coming throughout the year. So we have lots of maternity leaves, so Renisha thankfully will be filling those maternity leaves throughout the year. So lots of exciting things.
Do they coincide.
Kind of, we had, well, Ellie just had hers, and then there's an
Good planning.
October due date and a December due date. So hopefully everyone goes right when they're supposed to, and it will all work out.
Lunch conversations that we have.
Yes. Best laid plans, as we all know.
Yes.
So,
Sure, I'll be busy.
every year we have a beginning of the year theme. We've had Minions one year, we did kindness one year, we've done, last year we did a beach theme with lifeguards, the teachers wore lifeguard shirts. This year we are doing an adventure / camping theme, let the adventure begin, learning is a journey, some of those little sayings. We're getting that put together. The teachers are more in charge of that this year, so they're kind of going to divide and conquer the bringing the props and for parents to take pictures and the bulletin boards and so on and so forth. All the teachers usually get t-shirts with a theme on it as well for the first day. And then Mrs. McGrath actually mentioned a great idea, and we're going to add some music to it, hopefully. Either if Mr. Erdman is here, we thought maybe he could do some like campfire music, or maybe we can just play some music as the kids are coming in as one extra little fun thing to add to it. So thank you for that idea, Kathy. And then the last thing is our Black Hawk Early Birds. That's something that we are bringing back. It used to be called morning reading. When COVID hit, we had to close morning reading because it was combining kids from all different grade levels in the morning. That's when kids would come in before school to do some projects and activities with Miss Sorgel. So we're bringing it back this year. It will start at 7:15. We will have Pam and Kelly come in because we need two. We usually have quite a few kids, and one adult just isn't enough. Kelly will be checking the kids in. Pam will be in here, and then both of them will help with activities, crafts, reading, learning games, things like that, until the kids go to breakfast or out to recess. So we're very happy to bring that back and offer that service to parents. And then we have Boys and Girls Club after school as usual. They will be returning. So lots of good things. It's exciting to be able to bring some of these things back. So.
How about parent volunteers and community volunteers?
Yep, we had last year our reading mentors came from the United Way. And we are doing that again. So we have our reading mentors from the United Way, and then we are handing out our parent volunteer slip with our back to school night. We had kept that packet out previously because we just weren't sure how things were going to go. So the parent volunteer slip is going home as part of the packet again this year. So
If people in the community wanna sign up to volunteer to come in and read like we did before, we can do that.
yep, you bet.
Great.
Especially men.
Yes.
Good male role models.
Yes,
Important.
yes, very important.
Alright, any other questions? Alright, thank you. And next item, middle high school principal report, Principal Schroeder.
How long do I have?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
You only have one.
Time is on.
Speak fast.
I'm gonna stand so you can see me too. So I'm gonna recap a little bit of the end of the school year, summer, and then go into fall. I wanted to tell you that our recovery summer school finished, and like I told you, because of the trimesters, we had almost half of the kids attend summer school, which is a good thing for us. We offered in middle school math and social studies, and 4 students attended and earned their credits, which a couple of the 8th graders that helped them advance to be freshmen. In high school, we offered history, English, and math, and there were 6 students. And most of them earned their credit recovery. A couple did not. They have a couple modulars left. So we're bringing that into the school year, and Amy McMillan will be finishing with them during Black Hawk and some other designated time. So all of them, said and done, will advance and have those credits. We just finished in the middle of July weightlifting, talked to Max Ayers and Riley Thomas who did that. Approximately 11 to 15 students every day. We opened it up to grades 7 through 12, and we highlighted females, because a lot of times the females didn't want to come. This year we had quite a few females. We talked about kind of, as the juniors and seniors get a lot of jobs, they're not as consecutive as they were when they were freshmen and sophomores, but they figured, come in days that we're really flexible about that. If you can only come 2 days, come 2 days. It's better than none. So again, those 2 did an awesome job there. The music department is booming. Beginning of August, Emily Anderson is doing fantastic. She, came with raving reviews, and we have people, come in to school and say, "Can we go on?" And parents and kids. on a given day, can we go down and meet that teacher? So a couple numbers have went up, she offered band lessons, and I think almost 100, they couldn't make every day, but 100% of her kids going into trimester 1 came for band lessons through this last month. And she's down there cleaning and organizing, because she's made a commitment to that department. We've had turnaround and I don't even want to tell you how many filing cabinets of music down there. And then this week, we have choir boot camp. So from 9 to 12, Mrs. P is offering choir lessons. So I went down there and I wondered in summer how many she would get. And you gotta remember, for 2 years, we didn't have that. I think we looked at the contract and it was 18 or 19.
19.
And there was like 27 kids on the risers singing. Like, they couldn't sing, remember? So they were dancing and I was like, oh my goodness. And then they asked me, when are you gonna bring that new guy down? So I gotta take Mr. Mina down there. They're all interested to meet him. So we've been busy in the office. Everybody's kind of, especially in my building, stopped in, is he busy? Can you introduce us to him? So he's been greeted with good greetings. Going into the fall, back to school night. Again, we kind of opened it up, really worried last year, but we had moved everything outside. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna tailgate, we do school tours, we take school pictures. Jostens is here. We've added a Chromebook check-in or checkout so they can come get their Chromebook and they're ready to go. This year, we talked about at our admin meeting, we often have trouble getting paperwork in, up-to-date information on the kids. So Miss Ashenberger is gonna be in the library, Miss Need is gonna be in the counseling and in the offices and have computers up. And we're gonna encourage them to do all their updates. Cause we can have kids 3 weeks in and the kid's throwing up and I don't have current phone numbers, and that scares me. So that is our big push. First couple days, we have all the right information for these kids in the system. And Mr. Vandehey is organizing that with his student council. They're gonna give tours, help the kids open lockers, go through their schedules. He's working with Jenny in food service, so we're offering burger brat. If you are free, stop in 4:30 to 6:30. The only thing is the chem lab, if it's not done, will be roped off. But that's okay, we'll tell them to return. So, our meeting started already, our athletic meeting on Monday, we had for parents and 7 through 12. We had it in the cafeteria, we haven't had one of those for a couple of years. It filled up fast. I said to Shane, I think in about 5 minutes, if we get any more kids, we're moving. It was full, so it was good, it was good. We went through expectations and the code of conduct. They sign that, a lot of times, I don't even know if they know what they're signing and have questions, so we went through that. We really stressed the importance of an athlete being a good leader everywhere. In every classroom, on the bus, at Walmart, wherever, when you stop at McDonald's, like you're a leader. You're representing Port. So that was our big hurrah. High school sports started this week. All of middle school sports start next week. Friday, we have a scrimmage in Almond for football, and Saturday, we have a scrimmage here at home already. So it's a different feel when you enter the building now, because it was hours for a month or two. And now, the kids they're excited. They won't tell you that, but they're there, they're excited, they're coming in, they're checking in. So the last thing that I have, and I sat with Miss Moore today and I was like, wow, and I really wanna share this with you. And Jim just jumping on board. So mid-state classes, all of a sudden the other day my daughter said, Mom, I got some emails from Midstate and I'm one of their students and I'm supposed to log on and I'm supposed to do all, So our kids that are taking Midstate classes they've already got all their information and they start next week because they're on Midstate schedule. So, and they can go to an initial meeting, that's kind of all on them, but they have reached out to the kids already. So as of today, I met with Ms. Moore, we only have 7 students, which is okay. 7 students enrolled in mid-state classes, okay, outside of our school. And that is because we don't offer those classes here at Port yet, right? But we used to have
we have some of those that we are.
Right, well, we used to have 20 to 30, I don't know, at the last couple of years through the semesters. So we are now offering at our school, because our teachers took certification, 11 dual credit courses being offered, because our staff got certified. So our plan is working more efficiently, because remember, we're giving them a small stipend, but then our kids are staying here and they're not going to mid-state, so it's like they're getting the opportunity, it's a win-win, remember we talked about that? So I just did a quick thing here, and I do wanna go through it, and maybe I should include it in the board packet. Mr. Bruno is offering consumer home maintenance, 10 kids through the year are gonna take that. Metal manufacturing, Mr. Bruno, 9 kids. Nutrition for healthy living, Mr. Bishke, 9 kids. Mental wellness and stress management, 12 kids. Intermediate algebra with applications, 2 kids. Introduction to stats, 5 kids. Both of those are Tammy Griffith, excuse me. English composition 1 now, Carla Leonard, 11 kids. Introduction to diversity studies, Mr. Miller, 14 kids. We have now got Mr. Jensen, our new business teacher, working on 3 classes, because they will get a mid-state degree, what is it, not a degree, but a
Credit.
it's a program, a certificate actually.
They're certified.
He's gonna be teaching quality customer service, intro to business, and Microsoft certified application specialist. And with an English class, that's 4 classes, and they get a certificate for that. So there's 15 kids in 1, 19 and 15. That means we're offering 121 kids classes here in Port, and they don't have to go somewhere. So when I looked at that, I'm like, that is phenomenal. We are, and these teachers are in the middle of classes, they took this summer, and yeah, they're really doing us a great service, so.
Could I just jump in and add one extra point to that? So that's all amazing news. It's amazing news. And on top of that, those credits, if we take those at Midstate, Midstate credits now transfer to almost all UW schools. So not only is it dual credit, these kids don't have to go to Midstate. They can go to UWSP, UW Stout, UW La Crosse, and they will have a leg up. So those credits transfer.
And the other thing, like Ms. Moore was saying, like the consumer home maintenance and those of welding, some of those kids that go to Midstate, that moves with them, transfers with them too. So they it's a win-win
It's a
for
win-win
everyone.
all around.
So I was just kind of impressed with those numbers. We're getting, even being small, we're keeping up with everything. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Bishke, about that?
I just know that from what I've heard from Midstate, our district is like percentage wise doing more than a lot of the other bigger districts. The amount of kids that we're servicing for our size compared to them is like above everybody else.
Yeah,
It's
and
terrific.
we're so lucky to have them, and I didn't know that Mr. Pino was gonna be there. They invited an admin to a meeting out there. And so we went and we got there, I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna be here. And the president spoke to us, and we really should have a good connection with them. And they said something about our staff, and they said, well, we have these meetings and we offer this. And I said, I didn't know that, are our staff, and they said, your staff are our staff, they're teaching our classes. And so they said they're gonna start reaching out to them and inviting them to things, and so I said, great, like I'm impressed, and I really appreciate that, so.
Thanks for all the teachers that are
Well,
doing
Yes.
that, going
Yeah.
above and beyond.
yeah, I think Carla took 4 classes this summer.
Wow.
Yeah, I asked her, she's always busy studying, but, so, any questions?
That's awesome, Donna.
That is great.
You remember 2 years ago when this whole dual certification process started and how daunting it looked? We're kind of like gulp. Well, now you're looking at the start of the rollover and the payback. This is, Donna, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it really
Please,
is.
please express our deepest respect and consideration to these staff members who work so hard to do this.
Okay.
They were valuable before, and now they're valuable on a whole new level. Can I ask, I didn't hear this from either or anybody's report. Where are we at approximately with overall district enrollment as we come into the start of the year? Do we have any preliminary figures?
Well, the problem is right now with us at the elementary at least, is that some other districts near us have not requested records or given us records, so we've had kids register. We may have some kids go out that have told us they were moving, but they haven't requested the records, so what it says in Infinite Campus right now might not be exactly accurate. We are up right now. And every day we are up. We got a couple more kids today. So, I don't know specific numbers right now, but, even with the couple that, will get records requests out, I think our numbers are gonna be higher.
Probably won't be lower than last year.
No, I don't think so.
You know where we're at in 4K
Good question.
approximately?
We're smaller this year in 4K, I wanna say 18.
Okay.
18 or 20, kindergarten though, we have 34 right now, something like that. Yeah, kindergarten's big.
I think in high school I was up about 3 or 4, and in middle school I'm down
We're
about
down, I think.
8.
Ernestine and I
9.
talked about that today and we were talking and she said she said 99 in middle school today, but I said as soon as the first day of
Yeah,
school, we'll get a
it'll all
report.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we'll be able to share that with you.
Yeah, last week I was at-
Because with the open enrollment in and out,
It's
Sure.
so hard to gauge until
Yeah.
we get all those records
Yep.
Right, I know.
flip-flopped and kids in and out, but no, it's good, I'm very confident it's definitely going to be up.
And you're seeing
Last
a generally greater inflow than outflow.
Correct,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's fine, that's all I need.
Yep.
Just two
Thank you.
first of all, sorry that we're down in middle school because they know everything, so that's gonna be a serious detriment.
Do you wanna come to 6th grade orientation next week?
They don't,
Yeah, so, but as far as, do the students really understand what advantage they're getting with the mid-state program? I mean, my daughter, or Sarah, my youngest, took the 2 classes, took 2 extra classes and graduated a full semester early and saved herself about $8,000.
See, and back then, there was few and far between, I think, that did that, and now it's becoming almost normal.
I don't think it sinks in until they see that the next, I have one that's just starting as a freshman in college, and then all of a sudden he looked at his business classes and I'm like, you're exempt from that one, you're exempt from that one, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on, like, oh, that's what that dual credit means. So it kind of takes a little, you know what I mean, I don't think it really registers with them until,
You're actually in the game.
right.
We usually do have the mid-state, like for my classes, my person at mid-state comes and she talks to them all and shows them, she has like some graphs and she'll
good.
show them
That's a
like,
great idea.
here's how much you're saving with this, and then here's some things you can do with this and how they transfer and all that, so.
Maybe she should come to
It was
all of
one of my great moments as a parent when my son, because I kept telling him, bank a couple of extra classes early on. Take your mid-states credits, bank your freshman classes, because when you're older, you'll appreciate that you don't have to necessarily do everything. And he actually told me I was right. And I have that
Worse
written
than
down.
last time.
And I will say that's one of my great moments.
I forgot a paragraph.
Okay,
sorry, you
Freshman
already said you were
orientation, I wanna, what? I'm
I'm
done.
done. Yeah.
Freshman orientation, I wanted to thank Ms. Moore, is coming up next week, and I think we do a phenomenal job talking about schedules and teachers and responsibility and routine and where that line is between being a middle schooler and high schooler. And we slated for an hour, we talked too much, it's an hour and a half, but they're all engaged, so that's a good thing. And then we are having an orientation for the 5th grade coming over there to 6th grade. We can orientate all we want, it's a big move. So this year I talked to Joe Hins and he's phenomenal with the kids. So we've been working together. It's next Tuesday, 9 to 11, it's just for the kids and all the teachers are coming in. We're gonna do some activities, icebreaker activities, we're gonna walk them around school, open their lockers. And so he's doing a phenomenal job. He's so good with student council. And we're using 8th graders, I love it, as mentors. So they're doing most of the planning, we're kind of trying to put it on their plate and so they've got role models to look up to. So, yeah, it's a good thing. So, that's it.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next is questions and comments from people in attendance. No one signed up to address the board, so we'll move on unless somebody changed their mind. Okay. Go on to the consent agenda. Consider approval of minutes of the past meeting of July 13th.
Move. Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
I
All those opposed? Motion is approved. Number 8, consider approval of financial reports. Any gifts?
No gifts to report
No
today.
gifts.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I have to do a roll call on the financial reports.
Leo
Aye.
Onstart, Carrie Hildebrandt, aye, Dana Duncan,
Aye.
John Dobbin,
Aye.
Kathy McGrath.
Aye.
That motion is approved. No unfinished business tonight, new business. Consider approval of 22-23 property liability, linebacker, crime, inland marine, automobile, umbrella, and workers' compensation insurance plan.
Move approval.
Well, there's some options that we have to discuss.
There are some
There
options,
are options.
yes.
Okay, I missed that, sorry.
There are a number of options that were listed at the bottom of the item, which was emailed today, or was that?
Today.
It was emailed out today.
Okay.
If
missed
if we just choose the same coverage next year, the increase is gonna be $5,754. There are some areas in which we could increase our deductible to see some savings. Mrs. Miller and I have had a few conversations about this, and how frequently we utilize this insurance. A recommendation I'm gonna make is to change our deductible from $1,000 to $5,000. That would cause us to see a savings in the increase next year of $4,424. There is another item that's listed there, not a savings, but actually an addition of $126. That's a school personnel expense line. That is some legal savings. If there were to be accusations against any type of school personnel, that's a $25,000 policy for only $126 annually. I think that's money very well spent.
Yeah, lawyers are expensive.
So there are certainly, there's approximately, it looks like about 10 options or so at the bottom. Certainly, we can go any direction. My recommendation is to change our deductible from $1,000 to $5,000 and add the school personnel line.
What's our claim frequency during a typical year, Lisa? Do we have any records of, do we have
Minimal.
anything recent where we
Very
claim?
minimal.
Is the gym floor the
That was
last
probably
claim?
the last thing we've had.
Or did we have
Other
some
than-
sort of a claim with the leak coming down? But that was all same
Oh, that was
project,
part
yeah,
of
that
that,
was all
yes.
same
We haven't
thing,
had
right?
anything major other than
Right.
the gyms, issues with the gym.
Okay.
Other than work comp claims, but that,
And if,
That's
and
down
if
as
we
well,
spent
too.
an extra $4,000 on that, it probably wouldn't have hurt.
Right, and there's our,
Since we ended up spending a lot of extra money, cause it made sense.
and that'd be
fix
our
it.
savings in 1 year if
Right.
we bumped it up.
Move approval of the option regarding increasing the deductible,
And adding the,
Personal expense line.
personal expense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? Alright, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Alright, motion carried. Next item is consider approval of cooperative agreements 66031 Nacusa School District.
so move.
Second.
Alright, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Number 11, school resource officer update.
The school resource officer has been on the agenda, my first 2 agendas here since I've come on board. And as I mentioned in my memo to the board, I met with Chief Drew about 2 weeks ago. And at that time, his comments to me were that the village were looking to hire an officer beginning in 2023. he said that if we do not begin the school year with an SRO, that our service and their level of response would not change in any way, shape, or form. They would continue to provide very strong service for the school district. So that is the update with our SRO. It appears that it's going to be happening in the future and not anything in the anytime soon.
I would add to that the Police and Fire Commission is in the process of interviewing candidates next week. We got some really extraordinary candidates from a lot of different places, including out of state. So hopefully those interviews will bear fruit and a good candidate will result. The procedure here is that the commission will interview candidates and create an eligibility list, and that eligibility list will go to the police chief, and the police chief will pick from the list the candidate that he feels best meets his needs. Apparently the function of this position is kind of floating around between being an administrative investigative position and having some service time as an SRO. And that, I guess, is gonna have to be determined by the personnel committee of the village board and the chief once the candidate is hired. So I don't have a timeline for that. I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna proceed right now. We're just prepping for the interviews next Tuesday and Wednesday, so.
I have no problem, I am familiar with the Police and Fire Commission and the service and the work they do. But I have a real problem with the city or the village hiring an officer and just saying, this is your SRO. I think that this board, since we're allowing them into the school, has responsibility to sit in and have input on who they hire, if they're gonna put the person in.
That would be me.
We've always,
Okay,
So, and I am in the process of trying to draft questions and create situations with Mr. Bina's input that will try to focus interview questions for these candidates on the experiences and training that the candidates have relative to work in the schools. And as an update from some of my comments at previous meetings, we got a legal opinion from Mr. Apps, who is the village attorney, relative to the concern I had earlier about my position on the Police and Fire Commission and the board. And it appears that Mr. Butler's concerns of last spring were not held by Mr. Apst and the other attorneys. And they advised me that as long as I had no sense of personal gain from any of this, which I obviously do not, there would be no reason why I would not be able to participate in both the school board and the Police and Fire Commission activity. So barring somebody presenting something further in that line, I have two legal opinions that say that I'm fine and one that says I'm not, and so I guess I'm going with the majority of the opinions, and hopefully there won't be any potential here.
you had the Dane County opinion, which is separate everything because there's a ton of people available to do these positions versus the realistic position
Correct.
of local people who know that there are not tons of people willing to serve in these capacities.
No.
And that's the difference. If you don't feel that you would have any problem, because you're gonna have a responsibility to select the best officer.
Correct.
But then again, you're also gonna have to undertake the responsibility to decide what's best for the district as well. And if you feel you can handle that
Yep.
potential,
regardless of who they hire in that capacity, doesn't mean we have to take them on as our SRO anyway. I mean, so we get to potentially have a additional interview and process if we so choose, and
yeah.
That was
So I
part of
don't think there's
conversation.
any, I don't think there's any issue, you know, that way. I mean, and, you know, we're not gonna agree to anything before we speak to that, regardless of, you know,
Right.
how Leo's opinion might be one way or the other.
Right.
So,
Sure,
so we still get our say, is my point.
that's fine, and
I've been
as
very
long as
impressed.
the village understands that.
I've been very impressed by the caliber of the preliminary applications that we've received. Of course, we haven't actually spoken to any of these people yet, and
I mean, if they're, you know, wanting to go forward with this, I mean, it only makes sense that you try to help
these
You
are
know,
all of these,
channel that
all of these
person
are
that just-
experienced
yeah.
people. These are not,
channel that,
these are
those,
not 20-year-olds out of the academy. These are all people who are veteran law enforcement officers with a
some
lot
of
of
the
experience.
conversations that we've had in the past meetings,
Exactly.
you know, that's the, so
Exactly.
it's actually a good thing that Leo is sitting on both.
Yep.
Because he's been in our conversations here to, and like I said, ultimately, we still, you know, get to make that decision.
So no action, but things are moving forward.
Very good.
Okay. Anything else?
Done that?
All right, moving on. Number 12, consider approval of 2022-23 co-curricular positions. JV2 volleyball coach Jordan Coe.
So moved.
Second,
Happy to have another
Former
former kindergartner
kindergartner,
back on staff.
I love this, yes.
Did I hear a second?
I did.
Yeah, I think so.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Number 13, consider approval of handbooks. First one, employee handbook, or you wanna do them all together?
Do you have any questions about
Well,
it?
Well,
we
I,
could-
I'd
I
recommend
have-
probably separately.
Separate?
yeah,
Yeah,
I have a
separate.
question regarding the employee handbook.
Okay, we'll start with the employee handbook, yeah.
How are we going to enforce a policy on tattoos? I mean, I think that's gonna be something that's fraught with disaster. Because I personally have my own opinion on them. I don't understand them yet. But I'm a 58-year-old white male who is rather conservative socially. So I don't.
I guess if they're offensive,
I
and
think
like
there was
they've got a
some-
t-shirt on and it's offensive and a kid can't wear that on their shirt,
Yeah,
or staff member shouldn't have it on their
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah,
I know.
It's
The
a
question-
policy that I had legally reviewed in my previous district and it was supported.
I think someplace in there it said reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Say reasonable
Reasonable.
underneath that one, I thought.
But I mean, if
Yeah.
it says something just, like offensive, right, they should have to.
Yeah.
We don't have that issue right now, but
No, it's just putting something into language so that there is no gray area about it. And hopefully it doesn't create an issue.
Cause right now, is there anything in referencing, tattoos or body paint?
There
of
is
any sort?
nothing, and that's why I introduced this, so that we have some specifics to be kind of preventative in case someone would say, well, there was nothing in the handbook that said I couldn't do it. So now we have some language saying, we don't want anything offensive here in our district. And we want professional appearance.
No spiders.
My youngest daughter, who is a nurse practitioner in Denver, has pointed out that the current surge in interest in body art a few decades down the road is going to lead to some astonishing images in the elder care community as the graphic designs and the illustrative things that
Gravity,
are currently
yes.
on nice, firm, youthful skin.
Thank you.
Well, shall we say that the ship will be kind of down at the bow and sinking fast? So I point out to the people who do this that they really should carefully consider where and what, because it's there for the rest of your life pretty much, and you're gonna have to live with it. And Kari just kind
Why?
of shakes her head and she kind of goes, they have no idea. They have no idea what I see every day.
That's why I'm
So
gonna
it's
invest in
it
laser
is.
removal companies.
Monarch butterflies are okay.
Yes, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
appropriate, they can
I-
keep them on.
I guess, then on that note, I'll move approval.
You have no other questions about that?
Well, the other,
Then
I saw
at
the,
least the employee handbook.
I I thought of the professional appearance one that does mention tattoos. I was just wondering if, we haven't had an issue in the past,
With that,
not too much, yeah, for professional appearance besides it. Yeah, I didn't think so. I was just wondering.
This isn't a responsive
Right, it's not,
addition, this
right.
is just a new addition, me bringing this in because it provides some more specific language to what is allowable, what is not allowable.
That's right.
Yeah,
gentle reminder.
right, there was nothing in we started this handbook process maybe about 3 weeks ago, and we found, as an administrative team, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I think we all found some major gaps in our staff handbook, and some of those things are being addressed in these additions for the upcoming year.
We're good on, so, any other questions on the employee handbook?
I move to approve the employee handbook.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carried. Now we move on to elementary school student handbook.
I was really glad to see in there that it's been addressed about children being picked up after school. Because I have been here on occasion when it's quite late after dismissal time and there's still kids here, and that should not have to be.
Correct.
So I'm glad that that was addressed.
I've been reading these handbooks I read them 10 years in a row. Now I'm reading it for an 11th year, and they're still as dry as dust. Any thought of ever given putting some sort of little puzzle inside them so that kids could, if they actually read it, try to find it so they could win a prize or something,
Like
to at least get them to
Yes,
look at
little
it.
words that if they find it, it'll make a sentence, like one of those cryptic things that they have.
Yeah,
Didn't
and
we
then,
talk
well,
about
they
that
could
in
even
our-
give them candy or something if they could figure it out.
Yeah,
Put some type of joke right in the middle of it, just,
Yeah.
it's like the 30-page paper, so somebody's actually reading it.
10
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
later, nobody will see it, except Dana.
Dana will.
How many people have done that with a thesis or a document for a class? And you wanna know whether the professor actually reads it, and you get it back with a wonderful score, and it's like, nah.
Well, that was in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck inserted a scene. I'm not going to elaborate, but it's very out of place in the script. And they did that to see whether or not the potential movie studios or producers actually read it.
So as we
So-
upload these, we're trying to, we just finished this one, and as you approve it, we're trying to upload and go all to,
Digital.
on the computer, digital.
Digital.
So that's funny that you said that, because when we did this one, in case you approve everything, we didn't want them to skip to the last page and just sign it, because then they asked us, well, we didn't know that was no insurance and this and this. So at the end of each page, they're gonna have to scroll, I don't know how much it'll help, and it's gonna have to be, I accept this page or whatever, next, so they have to do that. But I don't know how much that will help.
Yeah,
There's only so much you can do.
Right.
Unless you timestamp each page, you're not gonna be able to get away with that.
I move that we approve the elementary school student.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next is the technology handbook.
So that's neat. We decided not to do, some of you have been around. So bits and pieces were developed with Jean Stelchuk when she was here, and she was our computer person with Sonata Lau. And then, and Kyle too. And then she left, and then we found more computer glitch, like Sonata would find them through the year, so they were added in. And then we had a new librarian last year, and she was here for a little bit, so she added bits and pieces. And Miss Ashenbrenner worked with her, and now we have a whole new IT group. A couple of them come in a couple times a week, and then we have CISA that oversees them, and they look at our stuff to see that we're doing the right things. So we felt like, I talked to Lisa and I said, like changes at a glance, we were taking sections in and check sections out. So we just rewrote it, and so Ms. Asherman has spent a lot of time, what's really happening in the library? What do the teachers have problems with? What are we addressing as far as fines and insurance? So we met and did this, and then our IT guys looked at it, and you looked at it too. So I know we've had multiple people on hands, and we had to clean it up. We had bits and pieces, like I said, paragraphs that were on different pages repeated and everything. So that's why I bring you an entire document instead of changes at a glance. A lot of it's the same thing, but just organized different and made sense, I think.
Move approval.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to number 14, consider approval of contract with Lamers Bus Lines Incorporated for 22-23 services.
I'd like to welcome Miss Teresa Hanneman from Lamers here tonight. She is a guest. I've invited her to give some input in just a moment. Just a little bit of background about this item. A few weeks ago, Ms. Hanneman came over to our school district and met with Mrs. Miller and myself to look at our contract for the upcoming school year. And the contract that she brought with her indicated a 9.5% increase. And I thought that seemed like a rather significant increase. And I asked Mrs. Miller if we had any type of master contract. And that master contract, we do have one. It's a 5-year contract from the 21-22 school year, last year, through the 25-26 school year. And a copy of that was emailed to board members yesterday. I have a paper copy of it if you would like one. On that master 5-year contract, it does indicate that the maximum increase in their services on any of these 5 years, the ceiling is 6%. And I did go back to Ms. Hanneman, and we've had a very cordial relationship. Lamers has been an outstanding service for us, so we want to maintain that cordial relationship. And Lamers has maintained that 9.5% is something that they need to do and something that they need to incorporate. So we're at a bit of a standstill, and I did call President Dobbin and I asked John, should we put this on the board agenda for discussion, and that's where we are at this point in time. Board members, do you mind if we have Ms. Hanneman do a presentation?
Please.
Ms. Hanneman, anything you'd like to share or add at this time?
Absolutely. For years, we have tried very hard just to work along with each school district, including Port Edwards, to keep all increases at a minimal. I mean, in the past years, we've had 1%, we've had 1.5%, we've had 2%, which has kept us at a very low rate. Then all of this COVID stuff happened. And like I had explained to him, I said, it's not just everywhere else except Lamers Bus Lines, it includes us. And we are hurting, we're hurting for drivers, we're struggling just to keep going. What we'd like to do is be able to offer our drivers a better wage. And by doing that, we've actually raised them 24.5% this year. And that just keeps us basically competitive with McDonald's. We added bonuses to have a safety and attendance so that we can get them to come in every day. And that is up 33.3%. Went from $1,800 last year to $2,400, and that's just to get their interest. We're just asking for a little help in helping us keep getting your children to school. 9.5, if that is too high, we can negotiate some, but we do need higher than 6. We're asking for this year. We're asking for some help for this year.
Is there a reason why Lamers didn't approach us before just sending us a bill for 9.5?
We didn't send the bill.
We met in person.
No, they
You
didn't just send
discussed?
it. No,
Okay.
yeah.
Teresa came over, we had
yeah.
a face-to-face meeting in my
Yes.
office.
Okay.
And she, I would say, almost very, very similar. She explained the same rationale to myself. I don't have the authority to break a contract.
Right.
So that's why I'm here to speak with the board about this.
It amounts to about $5,400 to the district per year. Cause I did the math.
Well, that's not to say that next year would necessarily be that, same,
We're not looking to go steep every year, we're looking to get caught up.
so I believe it was a few years back that, we did have some concessions by Lamers on a contract that, did show some, goodwill. I don't recall the specifics, but it was a few years back. Do you recall?
Yeah.
I think I remember that, Karen.
And I can't remember what it was,
Teresa, do you recall
Yeah.
that?
I don't,
You deal with so
haven't
many
been a
schools.
part of the
Yeah.
negotiating for too
so,
long.
I mean, obviously, it probably wasn't, I don't know, maybe at that time, the 6% was probably the ceiling that anybody could foresee, but, and maybe that was necessary to keep all the bonding, in fact, is having all these, future earnings available for insurance reasons and so forth too, so, but it would be my, argument or that, anything Lamers could come back to lessen that, but I don't personally feel that we would wanna, make them stick to that. It's like you said, it's not $1 million, not that it has to be $1 million, but, it's a business that's been in our community for a long time and, they did one time, I know, while I was on the board, help us out, in some capacity. I don't remember exactly which, and I think we should, reciprocate that.
Do you anticipate, like, going back to 6% next year or under, or?
We absolutely want to, we wanna keep things as minimal for the school districts as possible. Mr. Lamers is fair if nothing else, he always wants to be fair. And he doesn't wanna continually go with huge increases or anything like that. He's basically asking for help this one year.
Do you have enough drivers for the coming year?
If you count our mechanics, yes.
Now, this looks like the contract itself looks like a standard contract that Lamers has. And let me just recommend that they look at redoing that contract in the future because I've never seen one with annual adjustments that does not have a rider that allows for us.
Unforeseen circumstance.
Yes,
Right, exactly, that should be.
and that should be in there. So, because then you wouldn't have a problem with dealing with us. Because you could show the rise in propane costs, the rise in salaries, and the general inflation, you could address it, but that's not in there.
I think
So,
when this one was set up, what they do is every year we agreed on a percentage and they added another year to it and just put it at the bottom of the list.
yeah, I know, and I'm just indicating that it seems to work. Now, if we approve this does not mean we're necessarily approving another number in a next year that would exceed the 6% cap.
Correct.
Right.
One time only.
It would be a one-time only, and it's simply, and the only reason to proceed on this, in my opinion, is because this is a significant set of circumstances. It's not often we've ever come out of a pandemic and saw the economic turmoil, not just in this country, but around the world. I think almost every economically developed country is experiencing 6 to 9% inflation right now. So,
I'd like to suggest that we grant Lamers' proposal for this year. And that during the course of this year, once things settle down and the school year gets underway, I'd like you to come back and bring a new agreement with new language as Dana suggested. I'm not sure that given the unstable conditions in the world economies right now, having a 5 or 6 year agreement for anything makes much sense. Maybe with a rider or the new language as he suggested, so we're not looking at a 2025, 2026 contract. Maybe we should be negotiating 2 and 3 year agreements instead of 5 and 6 year agreements.
Or at least adding that rider.
And then not having to be caught by either party with consternation about, oh my God, how are we gonna do this? You're a vital part of the service we provide in this school district. Getting the kids to and from school is paramount to anything else that happens here. And your service has been exemplary. You've done a wonderful job for us, and we appreciate that. The last thing I wanna do is stand you up. But the mechanism here is like you say, I think it's flawed. And I think in light of current conditions, I think I would be willing to accept this proposal for this school year, and with the understanding that we come back at some point in the next 12 months and we revisit this and look at something a little more flexible and routine and up to date for future years.
The contract itself has language about adjustment based upon CPI in the Chicago market, which you can go online. I have to do that regarding an issue with fees and prepare an affidavit for the federal courts all the time, so I know what it is. By the same token, if this contract is in existence, that the minimum is 2.6, you gotta benefit for a number of years because the CPI was below, was about 1.2 for a number of years. Yeah,
We didn't increase it to 2.8, we could have, but we didn't.
okay, and that's fine, I'm just saying that maybe tying it more to the actual CPI would be more advantageous so that we would have some concept of what we're looking at each year, because we ourselves could look at that and figure out what the number is and plan accordingly before you even contact us.
Okay.
So,
So I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with the recommendations that Leo suggested.
second,
Alright, there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I'd like to thank all of you for your help with this, we do really appreciate it.
That mechanic that leaves and drives his kids go to our school. So, small
He's
world.
also on the fire department.
Yeah.
Trust
Right.
the man.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to say, I'm sorry, I should have said this
No.
before, but thank you to Ms. Hammond for coming tonight. Very quickly, a side note, when I worked here 15 years ago as an athletic director, Ms. Hanneman was my personal transportation secretary. She has provided flawless service to this district. I left, I came back, she's still with Lamers, so we have had outstanding service from Lamers, so thank you very much.
It's great to work with.
Great to work with.
Yep.
Okay, next item is opportunity for individual board member comment. Sarah Kathy.
I would just like to thank all of the staff that taught summer school here at the elementary school, and also the high school staff that did all the credit recovery at the other school. And I am so pleased that the new program, Black Hawk Early Birds, is coming back. And I just think it's a real service to our parents and something that's really needed, and just really happy that it's being reinstated. Also, so pleased that we are fully staffed as a school district, because there are a lot of districts in the state and in the United States that are not. And we are very fortunate But I like to think that it's because we have a great staff and the people that interviewed here wanted to be part of us, so
Absolutely.
that's it.
Right, Dana?
I guess not a whole lot, I guess I'll pass.
Carrie?
Kathy is excellent observation and very true. It's very good to hear all the positive directions that we've got going, and it's really nice to be looking forward to a positive way to start. Not that we haven't started even last year in a positive manner. I thought we did an excellent job, or the staff did. I shouldn't include myself. I don't do that much. The staff did, but might be a little easier time this year. So it's exciting, getting ready for the start of school year.
Leo?
Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend the opening session on Monday. I would like to come and greet people, so basically, I'm going to say now for the record what I would have said to the staff on Monday. Many of you have followed the stunning success of an alumni of this district, Yia Vang, who has been all over social media in the last few months. Yia was in my daughter Kari's class. They were good friends. My son Eric went to Minneapolis this summer and surprised Yia at his restaurant, and things went very well. Using Yia's culinary success as a metaphor here, teaching school is kind of like working in a stressful, big culinary environment. You are, I'm sure, aware of all of the shows on various networks with various ridiculous scenarios where people are running around stores grabbing things off the shelves and given extraneous goofy things that they're supposed to prepare meals with. I got to thinking about that after I saw a comparison to this online somewhere, and it's like people working in the schools at the start of the school year, like you're on an episode of Chopped. And you have X minutes to prepare, and the sauce burns, and the eggs are hard, and the knife isn't sharp, and every so often something catches on fire, like your hair, if you have it. And it's just, I guess the long-term, I don't call it a benefit, but a result of COVID is that an awful lot of folks who had lost track of this are now paying attention to what goes on in the schools, good, bad, or otherwise. And a lot of people who don't have kids in class are hearing a constant drumbeat of we've got to do a better job of staffing. We have to get more teachers. We have to spend more money. We have to do things better. And those of us in this business have been saying this for decades. And it's like the rest of the country is finally waking up, I hope. Time will tell. Just make sure that at any point during the year, you don't catch your hair on fire.
All right, thank you. Metaphor. I guess I don't have anything, just
I've only had two great
thanks to everybody that showed up. It's nice to have a
14 years then.
little bit of an audience. And our next board meeting was September 14th, and October 19th would be the next one, but we have the annual meeting.
It'll be the 12th.
12.
Oh, the 12th.
12, yep.
Annual meeting on Monday.
Monday,
Okay.
24th.
Can look at that.
31st is Halloween.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, okay.
They were both put out.
All right, October 12th. was-
Do you want me to add the 24th on their annual meeting too?
Sure.
and the annual meeting will be October 24th. All right.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, with that, Call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
We are adjourned.